Season 1 of Ninjago contained a short 4-episode arc in which each of the 4 original ninja discovered a new power, their true potential. These episodes have gone on to remain some of the most iconic episodes of the series run over 15 seasons. Now that the show itself is celebrating its 15th anniversary, why not look back at the true potential episodes and determine if they still deserve that iconic stature? We're going to go through each of the 4 episodes in order, starting with Season 1, Episode 7, Tock. Wake up in the morning feeling like St. Julian. Grab my glasses, I'm out the door. I'm gonna hit this city. Before I leave, brush my teeth with a bottle of tea. Cause when I leave for the night, I ain't coming back. I'm talking pedicures on our toes, pink on all our clothes. Boys want up our phones. Chop and play mini drawer chess, pull it off to the parties, trying to get a little bit tipsy. Don't stop, make it pop, DJ blow my speakers up tonight. I'ma fight till we see the sunlight. Tick-tock on the clock, but the party don't stop. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I just Okay, I had to do that because my brain can't see this episode title and not think of this song. Tock is largely considered to be the best of the 4 True Potential episodes, and yeah, I do think it is the best, although it is not my personal favorite. The episode sets up the concept of unlocking their true potential really well, and segues into the first instance of one of them discovering theirs in a simple yet incredibly enticing way. This episode focuses on Zane and his discovery of his true potential. The episode starts with the imagery of cogs of a stopwatch, which is some pretty cool foreshadowing to begin the episode with. This first scene is a callback to Zane's story of how he met Master Wu, which is a nice connection. After Zane knocks his record of breathing underwater out of the water, the ninja talk about how they feel they are at peak physical condition, and have probably reached their highest potential. Cole in the background here is so goofy. When the ninja head over to Master Wu to ask him if they've reached their true potential, Wu reveals to them that true potential isn't related to their physical strength, but instead tied to something much deeper and personal within themselves. At this point in the series, we really haven't seen any deep emotional exploration of the ninja yet, so this is the first instance of diving deeper into the layers of these characters, and that makes this string of episodes really interesting. Wu explains unlocking their true potential as this. You might have reached peak physical condition, but you've yet to reach your inner potential. In each and every one of us, there are obstacles that hold us back. Only when you conquer that fear will your heart be free. Only then will you reach your true potential. This makes me wonder if Master Wu ever reached his true potential, considering his relationship with Garmadon is still a large obstacle in his heart, as he reveals moments after he explains true potential to the ninja. Also, the close-up on the ninja during Wu's explanation is just so goofy to me. A few other quick notes about this scene. I just love the ninjas' dynamic as a group, especially in the early seasons, and their early season dynamic with Wu is so fun. The shot of the Great Devourer is low-key pretty scary. I feel like young Garmadon's voice could have sounded a bit less goofy. So Wu tells the ninja to keep working on stopping Pythor, and to also try and discover the obstacles holding them back, because he is going to go find a way to get Lloyd back. And man, it took him long enough. His child nephew has been kidnapped by Serpentine, the main villains for the season by the way, for days now, and now you're finally deciding to do something about it. So he leaves and the ninja are left to figure out what to do about Pythor. These dudes just go and put up missing posters for the Fang Blade.
This is silly.
Yeah, Zane, it is. They're just going around the village putting up posters when Zane suddenly sees a falcon and senses that he should follow him. The ninja immediately agrees, showing that they have completely moved past the weirdness of Zane following the falcon, which I find very cute and indicative of their developed relationship as a team, which is showcased in the rest of the episode. Also, poor Mia, always being left out. What good is gonna happen by her standing around? I like how it's shown how far the ninja are going, following the bird through all types of locations. Slowly, each ninja gets tired and takes a break, except for Zane, which is a good way to set up Zane being alone when he makes his big discovery. Zane also being the only one who is not tired after traveling such a long distance is also a cool hint at him being inhuman.
The guy's inhuman!
The falcon eventually just conks out, and when it falls to the ground, Zane discovers it is a robot and there's a mysterious symbol on him. I like how Dr. Julian has this symbol he puts on all of his creations that connects them. This episode is full of goofy angles and it's pretty hilarious to me. So there's this huge golden robot that starts attacking Zane, and Zane is able to defeat it, but before the robot clogs out, he does a little dance. And it made me wonder, did Dr. Julian program all of his robots to dance? Because, as we'll see shortly, Zane has some pretty sweet dance moves, and as we saw previously, the Falcon can throw down too. My big question about this episode, actually I have a lot of big questions, but one of my biggest questions is why did the Falcon decide to bring Zane to his home now? Like, what made the Falcon think this was the right time? Is the Falcon sentient and understood that Zane needed to know the truth about himself in order to unlock his true potential? Or was he programmed to lead him back here now? Like, what is the reason? I guess we'll never know. But moving on, Zane sees that the tree nearby is actually a house, so he enters the house. What if someone lived there, man? But all jokes aside, this is literally one of the best scenes in Ninjago in my opinion. The no Zane lets out is so well voice acted and it's just a very emotional moment. The way he drops the blueprints, not even outright stating what he saw, yet you can still infer what he has discovered, it's just so good. Okay, then we cut to Wu going to visit Miss Stake's tea shop and he gets some traveler's tea, which is the first instance of this tea showing up in the show. As we all know, it becomes incredibly prominent in the future of Ninjago. At this point, the only way to travel realms that we the audience knew of was dragons, and the ninja's dragons have already taken off at this point, so this is a new important lore drop. Anyway, cut back to the ninja finally catching up to Zane. They go down into the treehouse and they see Zane all distraught and they run up to him, which I just find to be a very wholesome moment. They are just immediately wondering if he is hurt and just wanting to know if he is okay. I find this whole scene to once again just be one of the best scenes of the show. Like, they're all so in character here and their dynamic together is so enjoyable to watch. Anyway, instead of Zane telling the ninja what's wrong, he simply shows them by opening his chest, which is hilarious. The ninja is shocked when he just reaches to his chest and opens it, and honestly, me too, because how did you not know you were a robot when the opening is on your chest? That brings me to my other big questions. I understand that they had Zane open his chest to reveal that he's a robot because it's convenient for the dramatic pacing of the story and easier to animate than him fiddling around for some other port on his back or something. But if he really had no clue that he was a robot, the control panel should have been hidden in a way more discreet area. Like, how could he go through his daily life and not notice that he had a huge opening right on his chest? Also, how the heck do his clothes work with that? How can they just come off with the panel? So confusing. I know this isn't meant to be thought about deeply, but it just always bothers me. Anyway, Zane is a robot. He never knew he was, but now he has discovered blueprints in this house for his design and he is struggling with it. He demonstrates his robotic nature to his friends by demonstrating the ability of one of his switches flicking his funny switch on. He then breaks out into the goofiest little song and dance routine ever. Jay's wholehearted laugh at this is so amazing and completely in character for him. Zane turns the switch off and immediately sinks to the floor, completely thrown off and devastated by his discovery, and my goodness, this scene just hurts my heart every time. Cole immediately tries to make Zane feel better and not different or estranged from the rest of them, which is very in character for him to take the lead on this and ensure his teammate that nothing has changed. The feeling of being shocked is mostly worn off at this point for the three of them, and that's honestly really cool of them. A detail I love is how Kai immediately says, "You're still our brother," and Zane replies, "Really?" Like he doubted they would still consider him their brother. It just shows the sadness and insecurity he was feeling over not only who he is but his place in the team. Jay piggybacks off this and coins the term Ninjoid, trying to lighten the mood by making up a cooler name than Robot. Cole suggests they get back to the mission, not that fazed by the discovery, instead wanting to keep the team on track, but Zane declines, saying that he doesn't feel right. There is still more for him to discover before he can be fully okay with this new information. The next scene continues to be a great showcase of the ninja as characters. As the three ninja leave, they talk about what just happened. Kai says that he doesn't know how he would react to learning information like Zane had learned about himself, which is very in character for him considering his approach to his true potential a few episodes later. He's very set in his ways and I don't think he would take to new information that he didn't plan out being revealed to him and shocking him like that. I don't think he would take well to that. Jay is continuing to push the phrase Ninjoid with Kai just blowing it off. Cole says, "How the heck do we get out of this place?" which is such a funny line to me.
Whatever.
How the heck do we get out of this place?
They've run so far they don't even know how to get back. Maybe call Mia, man. Okay, so the tree horns start attacking the ninja, and I'm about to go down a bit of a rabbit hole here, so bear with me. I was wondering why the robot guardian would have attacked Zane, because wouldn't Dr. Julian program the robot not to attack his own son? We also know that Dr. Julian turned off Zane's memory in their house. So when Zane's memory was cleared, he didn't know where he was, and he presumably left, right? So did the robot guardian not try and attack him? Did he just walk out of the forest and continue his life? The robot guardian didn't try to stop him at all? The tree hordes didn't attack him? Also, if Zane's memory started from the treehouse, confused at where he was, wouldn't he remember walking through the forest and seeing the tree hordes and robot guardian, or did they just disappear or something? Or was the robot guardian guy built after Savakai resurrected Dr. Julian? I wonder why Dr. Julian decided to live in the middle of nowhere anyway, especially since the place is surrounded by tree horns. Also, how did Zane rationalize any of what was in front of him? Did he just see a dead dude next to him and just shrug and walk off? Oof, that was a lot. Let's move on. I don't need to tell you that the entire memory sequence is a masterpiece. We get one of the most iconic lines of the series, "You are built to protect those who cannot protect themselves" here. The soundtrack is beautiful and the visuals are amazing. I think having Zane not speak in the memory sequence was a really great choice. Zane is very young in these memories and doesn't feel as in control of himself as a person yet. He starts really coming into his own as an individual after becoming a ninja and meeting Cole, Kai, and Jay. I also think that it's important that we only hear spoken lines from Dr. Julian in the memories anyhow. When you look back on your memories, you're more likely to remember something someone else said to you rather than what you said, right? I think it's important we only hear from Dr. Julian here too, because this is unearthing a part of Zane's past and introducing to us this character, and we need to know why Dr. Julian made the choices that he did. It's more important that we hear Dr. Julian's perspective in this scene and not Zane's, because we'll get to hear Zane's later. Right now, we need to know what Dr. Julian was thinking. The end of the sequence when Dr. Julian is dying and wipes Zane's memories is so chilling. Zane doesn't say a word, but you can see on his face that he's distressed. After Dr. Julian says, "I love you," Zane gives him a smile, and I think this highlights how truly young he was at the time. I don't think he understands what is actually happening to his father. He doesn't say "I love you" back, which is heartbreaking, and he definitely would have if he had a mental grasp on the situation. Instead, he smiles. The single tear on his face afterwards is so devastating, but the perfect visual moment to signify how he is feeling after learning his past. I like how Zane doesn't feel angry at his father. Instead, he understands why he did what he did, even if he confirms in the future that he wouldn't have made the same choice. He is just finally happy to know who he is, where he came from, and that he is loved, not only by his dad, but by his newfound family. Zane runs up the stairs after the ninja excitedly, feeling confident in who he is and his place in the world. When Zane exits the treehouse, he sees the ninja being attacked by the tree horns and is immediately angry. He goes straight into protecting them when they can't protect themselves. Zane starts to fight the tree horns, fiercely protecting his found family. He refuses to let them get hurt and is able to unlock his true potential because he knows who he is. He knows his past, he knows that he was created to help people, especially his brothers, and it is such a great moment. Zane kind of blacks out for a second after defeating the tree horns, demonstrating the intensity of the power he tapped into. The ninja help him up and Zane explains to them what he learned, detailing the obstacle in his heart that he overcame and how he now feels stronger not only physically but mentally. The ninja being confused when Zane says father is funny. I'm probably overthinking this, but I don't really like Jay's line, "We have our very own Nindroid." I know it's meant to be a goofy line, but it kinda comes across as possessive of Zane, regarding him as an object. I feel like they should have emphasized a bit more that just because Zane is a robot, it doesn't mean he isn't an individual with feelings and autonomy. And that brings into the conversation the domino effect that comes from this moment, the flanderization of his character that occurs gradually over the seasons, all thanks to this episode where it is revealed that he is a robot. It makes you wonder, what if Zane was never revealed to be a robot? I see the pros of him being a robot and the pros of him not being a robot, and I also see all the cons for each side. It's hard to know which option is better, honestly, especially since we have no idea how they would have taken his character over 15 seasons had he not been a robot. However, I wonder what would have happened if the episode had played out like it did, but when Zane entered the treehouse, he just discovered the truth about his father, removing the aspect that he's a robot. I think it obviously would have changed a lot of things in the show, but probably would have been better for his character in the long run, considering his robotic nature is the sole contributor to his flanderization. However, the robot reveal works especially well for this episode in the first few seasons of the show, not really becoming a major characterization problem until much later down the line, at least in my opinion. So, Tock was a great first start to the run of True Potential episodes. It sets up the concept of true potential and explores Zane discovering his in a very interesting and captivating way. Every character is incredibly well characterized in this episode, and it definitely builds the hype for the next few episodes. Speaking of the next few episodes, let's move on to the next one. The next True Potential episode, Once Bitten, Twice Shy, focuses on Jay. As the more goofy character on the team, it's interesting to finally see an episode exploring his deeper insecurities. It does lean more on the goofy side compared to the other 3 episodes, but it has that season 1 flair that still cements it as a good, meaningful episode for the character. The concept of the episode is set up in the very first scene. Serpentine venom can change someone into a serpentine. The cure to reversing the effect is established by Nia in this scene, and then we see that Jay carelessly gets pricked by the venom. In this scene, Jay explains to Nia that he was trying to impress her in hopes of unlocking his true potential. And I find it very interesting that Jay is trying to unlock his true potential, unlike Zane, who just happened to stumble upon it. Jay thinks that the key to unlocking his true potential is finally getting together with Nia, and he ends up being right, surprisingly. I do think his true potential being unlocked has to do more with him learning to embrace who he is and be confident in himself, but it still is heavily implied that Nia is a big aspect to that. In hindsight, if they had decided on Jay having been adopted at this point, it would have been more interesting to explore him discovering that and accepting that as the obstacle for his true potential instead. But for him at this point, it makes sense that he needs to learn to be confident and be himself. Anyway, after this, we cut to Garmadon and Wu, and that stuff is happening. I don't have much to say about this. Pythor, you icon. Mega Monster Amusement Park is a pretty interesting location to center this episode around. You could definitely get into a lot of dangerous situations in an amusement park. Jay is getting ready for their date, and we can see that he feels like he has to pretend in order to impress Nia, proving that he is insecure about himself and not confident in his ability to be good enough in her eyes. He notices that he is starting to morph into a serpentine, but he brushes it off, simply covering it up. I like how Jay and Nia's stories ultimately end up intertwining. Nia is still hiding from the ninja, including Jay, that she is Samurai X. In the date scene, we see that Jay is bad-mouthing Samurai X, and it makes you think Nia probably thinks he wouldn't like her anymore if he found out she was Samurai X. Both of them are just so young and naive at this point, tiptoeing around each other instead of telling each other the truth. Jay does tell real stories about himself in the date scene, telling her about the time he built wings out of scrap metal, but because he isn't confident in himself, he isn't truly able to be himself. Halfway through the date, Jay rushes off to the bathroom as he notices he is turning more into a serpentine. Nia ends up leaving too to fight the serpentine as Samurai X, since they've shown up at the amusement park. Anyway, Jay comes out of the bathroom, and the other restaurant patrons immediately recognize him as a snake, which confuses me because how come they didn't notice the actual serpentine were snakes but they know Jay is? And they just go immediately to hitting him with bread. Anyway, the other ninja are in this episode too, so let's check in with them. They've arrived at the amusement park to stop the serpentine. Zane has the line, "Watch and learn, brothers," which I think is a nice callback to the last episode. Zane tries to use his true potential power here, but screws it up, which is hilarious. It also shows that it's not an instant power they can master in a minute, and it's really only used in major situations. The serpentine unmasks Samurai X and discovers Nia, but it feels kinda underwhelming to me, considering they captured Samurai X a few episodes earlier, and they just didn't bother to take off her helmet then. Anyway, they also capture Jay, pretty amused at the fact that he is turning into a serpentine. They tie Nia and Jay together on a roller coaster and set it in motion. With nowhere to go and in peril, the two finally reveal their secrets to each other, ignoring their insecurities, which is a great moment. I absolutely love Jay's completely flabbergasted expression when Nia tells him that she is Samurai X. Nia finally admits her feelings out loud to Jay and assures him that she likes who he really is, not the facade he puts on. This allows him to truly accept and embrace who he is, unlocking his true potential, which I think is really sweet. Jay uses his true potential power to stop the derailing roller coaster, which is really cool. The scene after mostly focuses on Nia, which is kinda goofy considering Jay just unlocked his true potential. Everyone talks about Nia being Samurai X, but nobody acknowledges that Jay just unlocked his true potential, which should be a huge talking point. Nobody seems to give a crap. Poor Jay. Kai says, "Wonder what Sensei's doing now," and man, it's the best scene transition ever. Anyway, this is definitely my least favorite of the 4 True Potential episodes, which I'm not sure whether that's a popular or unpopular opinion. I still think it's a really good episode, but just not as strong as the other 3. We've made it to my favorite of the 4 episodes, the Royal Blacksmiths. Cole is my favorite ninja, so it's probably no surprise this is my favorite episode. I think Cole is such an emotionally rich character, and I really love this first exploration into the depth of his character. I think for True Potential episodes, your favorite, it usually correlates to your favorite of the 4 original ninja. The first scene of the episode catches up with the Serpentine as they make Lloyd look for the next Fang Blade. So Lloyd's still kicking. In the next scene, we see that the ninja are trying to figure out where the next Fang Blade could be. They finally acknowledge that Jay unlocked his true potential in the last episode, and Kai is peeved. Cole suddenly realizes that he has seen the Fang Blade before, which I find kinda goofy considering they have been looking for the Fang Blades for multiple episodes, and his father has won it multiple times, meaning he's probably seen it throughout his life multiple times, but he's just now recognizing it? Maybe Cole just has a really bad memory. Cole brings out a photo of his father holding the Blade Cup, which is a trophy incorporating the Fang Blade. Cole finally starts to open up about his past, mainly his relationship with his dad, and the ninja are just laughing about how his dad looks, which is nasty work. Anyway, they decide to go see Cole's dad to find the Fang Blade. Also, how did it just happen to be that the contest was taking place at the same time they needed to find the Fang Blade? You know how? Plot convenience. Anyway, the next scene shows Wu and Garmadon trying to get back to Ninjago. It has some cringy dialogue, but it is nice to see them working together. The ninjas show up to Cole's hometown, and instead of lowering themselves down into the village, they leap off the bounty with their golden weapon vehicles like crazy guys. Also, Cole could have just left the weapons on the bounty with Nia. Cole knocks on his dad's door, and his dad immediately slams the door in his face, really setting up the rocky relationship between him and Cole. I like how the ninja are actually pushing to compete in the competition. I guess they just really wanted to dance. Later on, we see Cole's dad training the ninja, and dude just calls out Cole in front of everyone. Cold-blooded. I like the idea that such a tough and closed-off character like Cole was born into an artsy family and forced to participate and compete in the arts. The next scene with The next scene with Wu and Garmadon is also so cringy. The ninja arguing about the routine is hilarious. Cole tells him to cut it out, reminding them that he doesn't care about the stuff and just wants to get the Blade Cup. Cole's dad overhears this conversation, him talking about stealing the Blade Cup, and is furious. Cole's story can be so closely related to a story of coming out, and it's so good. Cole tries to explain everything to his dad, finally telling him the truth that he isn't a dancer, he's a ninja. He says, "I'm proud of who I am," showing that he accepts himself. Cole's dad is still upset, saying that he can't be proud of his son who thinks stealing is right, and leaves. Even though Cole accepts himself, his heart still yearns for his father's approval. So it's only when he comes back and expresses that approval that Cole is able to unlock his true potential. Cole decides that they should try and compete instead of stealing the Blade Cup. Pythor pretending to be a judge is hilarious. I love the goofiness of the early seasons that Pythor would just go along with the competition instead of just stealing the Blade Cup. Cole switches the routine to better fit who the 4 of them are, and the performance is so cute. Cole is finally able to do the triple tiger sachet because he is finally confident in his abilities and who he is, and it's awesome. The ninja end up winning the Blade Cup due to Cole embracing who he is and being himself, and his dad not being there as Cole looks out at the crowd is so angsty. Also, I wish Nia was in this episode more. We see, glimpses of her in the crowd, but, she could have been around. In the next scene, the ninja are celebrating, but Cole can't bring himself to do so. His dad then shows up, saying that he saw the whole performance, and it's such a sweet scene as he tells Cole that he accepts him and is proud of him. Actually, Pythor then shows up and causes equipment to fall in order to steal the Fang Blade, but in this moment, Cole is able to unlock his true potential. He uses this power to protect his father. Interesting detail I noticed, Cole doesn't pass out after using his true potential power, showing that he is goated. Pythor gets away with the Fang Blade, but the reunion of father and son is more important to them right now. Them celebrating at Cole's house afterwards is so cute. It's like a sports team going to get pizza after the big game. Cole's dad hangs a picture of the ninja on his wall. In the scene, Kai is still pushing the fact that he thinks that he is the Green Ninja, which has been a recurrence at the end of the past 2 episodes. It's great character stuff establishing the obsessiveness of Kai over this Green Ninja stuff. I also like how they only had this reoccurrence at the end of this episode and the last, as they are both on the goofier side of the 4 episodes. It would have made Kai seem like a real pill if he had been pushing the Green Ninja thing at the end of TikTok. Anyway, I think this episode is really great, balancing the wholesome goofiness of the early seasons with really emotional character stuff. I think Cole's true potential makes complete sense for him and is executed really well. I'm definitely biased because Cole is my favorite character, but this is my favorite of the true potential episodes. The next and last episode of this 4-episode saga is the Green Ninja. This is another of the most iconic episodes of the series, as not only is it the episode where Kai unlocks his true potential, it is also the episode where the identity of the Green Ninja is revealed, a mystery that has been building up since the first episode of this season. The opening scene is iconic. It establishes Cole, Zane, and Jay as more self-actualized than Kai, and sets up the character journey that will be followed throughout the episode. Kai thinking he's the Green Ninja and trying to prove it. Kai still believes he needs to be the main guy in the team, and just isn't aware of what his true place in the team is yet. Wu finally returns with Garmadon, and Dude doesn't warn them at all that he's there, so they understandably freak out. Wu then yells at them for being confused, and protesting Garmadon joining them on the bounty. And this is pretty crazy, considering he gave them no warning, and they have been spending their whole time as ninja trying to prevent him from coming back to Ninjago. Of course they're going to have doubts about letting the dude tag along with them. Wu really gets on my nerves in this episode. A small thing I love about this scene is how casually Jay tells Wu that Zane is an android. It's hilarious how casually he says it, but also quite sweet, as he doesn't treat it as such a big deal, showing how accepting the ninja are of Zane. Despite Wu telling the ninja to treat Garmadon as their guest, Kai is determined to fight Garmadon to prove himself and unlock his true potential. He is convinced that he is the Green Ninja, and once he defeats Garmadon, he will be able to unlock his true potential. This obsessiveness in Kai continues to build throughout the episode, causing a rift between him and Wu, and holding him back from the real key to unlocking his true potential. Nia calls him out for being illogical when Kai explains his plan to her, and it's such a funny moment. Next, we see a montage of Garmadon being roommates with the ninja on the bounty, and it is so freaking funny. The other ninja eventually soften up to Garmadon, but Kai is still extremely distrusting of him. Throughout the episode, they are all looking for Lloyd, and I find it very interesting how Kai really does not care about finding him. Every time someone is talking about finding Lloyd, Kai just comments on wanting to find the Fang Blade. He literally abandons the bridge when he is supposed to be keeping an eye on where the Serpentine are taking Lloyd, because he is so preoccupied with wanting to beat Garmadon and become the Green Ninja. Not to mention, he is also paying no attention to what he should be focusing on. This is set up so well for the revelation at the end that Kai was finally able to unlock his true potential once he realized what was actually important, what he should have been focusing on: protecting Lloyd, the Green Ninja.
I know it's my turn to look after you, but just play a few games and stay put while I look around. I have a feeling the samurai may show up.
We'll have to rescue Lloyd another day.
Nia, whenever I get in trouble, the other 3 always have my back.
Kai?
Yeah, no fire sword, but only because I wouldn't want anything to prevent us from getting that Fang Blade.
Kai abandons the bridge because he hears Wu and Nia talking about the possibility of her being the Green Ninja. Kai spies on them as they talk, worried that the possibility of him being the Green Ninja is slipping out of his grasp. Garmadon sees him and they confront each other. The way they shove each other is so petty. Nia and Wu hear their cat fight and come outside. Nia is angry that Kai was spying on her and reveals that she doesn't want to know if she's the Green Ninja, because she doesn't want to become like Kai, obsessive over it. Kai still doesn't realize that he's being way too crazy about all of this. Jay then comes over and calls out Kai for leaving the bridge. They all return to the bridge and decide to enact a plan when Kai realizes that Garmadon has suddenly disappeared. He immediately rushes to find him, convinced he is stealing the golden weapons. The two end up fighting. Cole uses his true potential power here to open the door, and he doesn't mess it up, showing that he is goated. Anyway, Garmadon and Sensei Wu are both master rage baiters in this scene. Sensei gets mad at Kai, saying that he asked Garmadon to go get the golden weapons, which A, why would you trust him, and B, why did you not communicate that to the ninja? Why do you expect them to just know what's happening at all times without ever telling them what's happening? And also, why does Garmadon not just tell Kai what Wu said? He is just vague and jumps to immediately fighting him. Garmadon, I get that he's a rage fighter, but Wu, you should know better. Ugh, they just make me so mad in this episode. We get the iconic wind moment in this episode. I really don't know why the heck they had him say wind, why they had him record the line wind in the first place, like... The ninja are all fighting the Serpentine, trying to get Lloyd and the Fangblade. I love how they get Garmadon to have his successful moment where he rescues Lloyd, but then just as they're about to escape, the ground cracks and Lloyd suddenly falls, once again out of his reach. The fire temple is about to explode, so the ninja usher Garmadon out as he is quite literally screaming for his son. Also, Scale's a better person than Kai, because he immediately makes sure Pythor gets out of the fire temple, not even considering that the Fangblade is still in there. The whole setup of having to choose to save a child over the Fangblade is diabolical when you really think about it. It is still a really good moment when Kai suddenly realizes what is actually important, but imagine if he didn't choose Lloyd. Or if Lloyd wasn't the Green Ninja, would he still make that choice? It's like one of those weird riddles when you can choose to save one person or a whole bunch of people. It's just pretty insane when you think about it for more than a few seconds, so you really just have to focus on Kai overcoming his character flaw rather than the situation explicitly. I feel like this moment wouldn't have been so diabolical if they weren't about to explode in a fiery, lava-filled place. Like, what if Pythor was just about to escape with Lloyd again, but Kai decided to stop him from doing that instead of going after the Fangblade? I feel like that would make the moment less insane, but they would still need the Fangblade to be in a precarious situation for his true potential moment to really hit the mark. Back on the bounty, the ninja don't think that Kai and Lloyd were able to escape the fire temple in time, but all of a sudden they see Kai using his true potential power to fly through the air with Lloyd and land back on the Destiny's bounty. Kai unlocked his true potential by letting go of his obsessive need to be the best, to prove himself as a Green Ninja, instead deciding to protect this kid who he suddenly realizes has something special about him. He lets go of his self-obsessed nature and decides to lend his talents to protect others, overcoming the obstacle that was holding him back. He finally realizes that he doesn't have to be the main guy, and discovers his true place in the team. Lloyd is finally reunited with his father, which is a sweet moment. They also decide that Lloyd is going to be okay with zero medical checkup or anything. Dude was surrounded by lava, are you all sure he doesn't have any burns on him? Anyway, Lloyd and Kai share a look after that line, and it's so freaking cute. It's like Lloyd is silently thanking him, and Kai is realizing how much it matters that he rescued Lloyd. Zane asks Kai how they managed to survive, and Kai explains that once he realized he had to make a choice, it became clear to him that he wasn't going to be the Green Ninja, no matter how much he wanted it, but that it was going to be Lloyd, and he needed to protect him, which ultimately allowed him to unlock his true potential. Jay and Zane's faces here always take me out. This entire scene is so good. The Green Ninja is finally revealed to be Lloyd, and we get the satisfying reveal of how Kai was able to unlock his true potential after frustratingly watching him obsess over the wrong way to find it in the whole episode. Garmadon being present in the scene also heightens the angsty familial tension in the scene and is just so perfect. The Serpentine end up getting the Fangblade as it shows up outside of the fire temple. Also, how are they still so close to the fire temple without getting hurt? So that was the last episode of the True Potential arc. We got a really interesting story for Kai and the first major mystery of the series revealed in an iconic moment. It was a great episode overall. After looking at all 4 of the True Potential episodes again, I can say for sure that they're all still great episodes and continue to hold up their iconic stature in the Ninjago fandom. Each episode is solid in its own right and crafts a compelling 4-episode arc of exploring the characterization of our main characters for the first time ever in the series, ultimately hitting the mark very well. I think Tock is the best episode of the 4, and Once Bitten, Twice Shy is the weakest, but none of them are bad. They all expand on the characters in a captivating way and are emotional while also being funny. They're classic Ninjago in all senses of the concept. Thanks for watching this video. Let me know what you think of the True Potential episodes in the comments below and which one is your favorite. Please like, share this video, and subscribe. Bye!